Hello guys, welcome to a Trading Parrot. We're gonna do an update on Solana. 2 weeks ago we did a video where I did a relative comparison of what we were able to achieve in the most bullish times in altcoins in the past 2 weeks. We compared Solana with other coins and we were able to identify that it was lagging behind. In this video I'm gonna show you how that turned out to be. We had a breakout on the weekly and it turned into an actual fake out. Now we are precisely at the levels that we were talking about in that video. We talk about coming back down into an RSI of 48 to do an actual retest of this breakout. We have come down to 49, so we are just 1 point away. And in this video, we're gonna focus on whether we can hold that level and still get ourselves a breakout. With lower quality, of course, we are still in an area where I believe Solana is gonna lag behind some other altcoins. Maybe not for too long, but in this period, definitely it will. We'll cover some news. We will cover where is that we can find all the liquidity pools, on-chain data, all of that back, hopefully within around 10 minutes. And guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. Can we get 1,000 likes on a video on Solana on a Monday? I'm working hectically to get all of this out for you guys, so you are informed no matter which coins you're trading. And if you want to get to trade altcoins using leverage, Bitcoin, we're talking over 1,000 trading pairs is available on the exchange Tubit. This exchange is non-KYC, so you get to choose between using KYC or not. It's available all across the globe. You get crazy amounts of leverage, although I will recommend you not to put more than 3x unless you want to make the exchange too happy about it. At the moment, this is one of the exchanges I'm using to hold my positions. As soon as you open the account, you get $50 as a welcoming message for having opened the account before depositing. Now, if you deposit and start trading, that's where you can claim up to 30,000 in rewards, of course, based on trading volume and on the size of the deposit. Let's go and see what's going on with Solana. Solana, we made a video when it was breaking out in this area. But what did I say? I say that judging Solana for what it has done in all this period from beginning of 2024 into now, it's been just bleeding and bleeding in terms of momentum. So my worry was that this could turn into a rejection. In that video, I state that if we are going towards an altcoin season, the most likely outcome is going to be that we are going to underperform, but still perform in a bullish way. What do you mean? Well, relative to other coins, the ones that I'm looking at, and I'm not talking about low cap, of course, I'm comparing it against SUI, ADA, XRP, Link, maybe not Link, but there's a group of them that are outperforming in terms of momentum, what they're able to achieve with the moves up. Solana has a healthy structure on the weekly, don't get me wrong, but is barely managing to do a global breakout so far, and now it's already coming back to retest within the context of a fake out, because this breakout, it should have done a more controlled kind of move down with this leg, but instead of that, it's just puking back into support, possibly getting us into 48. We are at 49 in the weekly RSI, and this is the line I left 2 weeks ago with my expectations. You can see that it actually played out. I'm not claiming that I'm here to forecast things. I'm here to read probabilities, and when something shows you weakness, what I do is I try to see, well, given that weakness, what can we really do realistically speaking? Now that can be wrong, of course. In the price action, you can see the disappointing price action of Solana so far, breaking lows. We have higher highs relative to April 2024, but then we broke the lows. So now what we are doing is pretty much rallying against this area that was previous support. So that is what I mean by lagging behind. And when we reach very close to the white line, we got a little bit of a puke. The structure looks like higher highs and higher lows. We have to admit as well the big achievements. We managed to be for a lapse of time within the golden pocket of the full retracement from top to bottom that is located between $200 to $220. That is good, but we couldn't leave the candle close inside. That is weakness. Then we get this retracement in here holding the 160. Next level of support is 130, and you can see already articles all over the place with people saying, or there is a huge weakness, the well's damp on us. We are probably going into 120 here. We can get into 120, but for that we really need Bitcoin to puke big, way more than what we have seen over the weekend. I'm talking about Bitcoin maybe going into 90K or something like that, or maybe the 80s as well. In that case, well, Solana, yeah, can visit again the $100, and that's definitely gonna crush all the longs that are heavily accumulating in this coin. If you don't believe me, just look at this chart in here. You can see that the longs are extremely sticky with this coin. Despite the fact that it's underperforming, we are at the very highs of long, and that is good and bad. It is good because we could potentially break out this line and go into the extension of 1 or 1618, in which case we can get way more longs that we have already now. This is a line that corresponds with the highest levels of long that we ever had in Solana, so I do respect the line. But if we break that line, that could bring Solana into a new stage where there's really a very overcrowded amount of longs. I consider that low likely within this season of August, September, but you never know. Socials are spiking in here at 10%. It's really bringing a lot of people's attention. After hitting highs of 16%, that's the all-time high in terms of social dominance for this coin, and you can see that it's climbing like a ladder of attention need in here. Let's go into the daily time frame. Here is where I was seeing as well some weakness by 23rd of July. We broke the support in here, and I say the only way that we can get this final level of liquidity on the upper end is if we actually do a revenge rally. We didn't even get a revenge rally, guys. I gave you this, I left it on top of your desk. In case we get that bullishness, adjust your expectations because we could potentially take it, but that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. It's gonna be just a dead cat bounce in there. We did not get dead cat bounce. We barely bounced from here and we puke again. That is all we got of a bounce. It's very, very, very low performing, and it has reached levels of 39. So if you watch my videos, the one that I put about Ethereum, and you find where it bounced, it's 10 points higher. And the rest of the week, I'm gonna do more altcoins, and you're gonna see that many of the other ones that you're thinking, no, that's disgusting, I'm never gonna trade that, they're bouncing higher than 39. This already reached 39, broke this support of 164, now it's trading below it, broke the highs of 182 as well, and it left on the table all this liquidity. So there is a chance that in here it could bleed a little bit longer. Why not? Let's identify levels of risk in case you are in a long. There is risk of going into 144 and pinching that level. Absolutely yes. Can we go into 120? Maybe we need a little bit more of a bigger correction on Bitcoin. I'm dubious that we need to go that low despite the fact that it's already showing weakness. Why? Because we are already at 39. To get into 121, you need the other side to take the lows of the double bottom formation of the reversal. That means that all of this was a lie and we're gonna put a new low, and you can only achieve that even with a poor performing coin in a context where everything else is also puking. Solana cannot get there by itself, even being weak. But again, I'm talking about probabilities. I'm not talking about knowing the future. Sometimes with my arrogancy, I sound like I can read a crystal ball, but all I'm saying is playing it safe and using probabilities, right? You rarely see something like that unless, you know, there is unique FUD affecting this coin by itself. Like, for example, there is a security black hole in the Solana network, or it goes down for 3 days in a row, something really uniquely affecting suddenly this specific coin. We are in a channel down, and now we need to adjust all expectations. These are the lines I did in the previous video, and you can see how I overestimated the move. It was way worse. Let's remove this and let's do the due diligence, which is to place a line like that. Unfortunately, we don't have something really good quality to estimate. This may or may not be a breakout on the momentum. I'm gonna leave it like that, but I would like to see a bit more of a pivot or a bottom information to start really claiming that we are seeing a breakout on the daily. We could be seeing it, but we are below this resistance of 164. Let's reclaim that line and maybe we get additional confidence. Let me do now an extension, not an extension, let's do a retracement. We are in the golden pocket. Okay, so that is decent. We are in the golden pocket with this breakout in there, but watch out with losing the golden pocket. That is 156. Remember that the next liquidation is 144. That is your risk of being wrong. wrong. Looking at Solana on CryptoQuant is a little bit less in the red than Ethereum, interestingly. Remember, on Ethereum we got red on those two. In here we have big whale orders, so whales are accumulating Solana as we speak during the bleeding. There is taker sell dominant at the moment. This one is on spot, not on futures like on Ethereum. That means that there are a bunch of people selling spot and they are dominating the CBD. Looking at the 1 month, we took already a decent liquidation level at 173. There is some around the 150, and there is a number that we shouldn't forget. So for example, let's say if we go into that 48, that is slightly lower, and that is a level that I will like the weekly to defend, to be honest, guys. Since it's showing some weakness, remember I say in the previous video, we need to adjust our expectation of the healthy retest, and that is precisely this level in here at 48. Now if we lose that level, we have some support at 47, but at that point we are risking too much to take this low and to begin a confirmation that we are really bleeding just in this direction. So to keep things fairly healthy, 48 is the level that I need to find now where it is in the price. So let's call it 47. I'm gonna do 47 and I'm gonna enable it here in the price. That is located at 151. So ideally, let's respect the 151, and if we zoom in, you can also see that 145, where there is the liquidation, is the most traded level in all this history from early 2024 until now. So that is point of control, and we are above it, so we are in the bullish area. But we need, if we have to go there to liquidate those levels, we have to bounce 144. That is very important, losing that level, and then we are looking into this declining area. Once we get into 122, our next support is already in the low hundreds, so let's use the 144 at the moment as a caution for any additional downside. If we defend that 48, guys, and we put a pivot in here that exits from this resistance, now we need to move the resistance, we need to place it like that, we need to respect the fake out. So let's say we continue bleeding into 48 and then we do a bounce from here. So that could be the area where we break out. If we lose this line in this direction and we extend this line, well, we're gonna face that resistance from somewhere else. We're gonna have to find out from where. Of course, being at these levels means potentially that you lose the $100. So I'm not inclined at the moment to say that that is the most likely scenario. I prefer the idea of just some additional crying within the squeeze that you can see in there, and eventually a breakout up, assuming that Bitcoin behaves. With a Bitcoin misbehaving, stamp in the floor, well, let's bring back this area of the chart and let's see where it can get us. I'm not particularly holding Solana. I sold it at 270, I think. I did it public on my Twitter, so you can probably search that event or watch the event. Just watch the videos around this area where I did it. Of course, I got all the usual hate for doing that and all those typical messages of you're crazy to sell here, this is gonna go 10x from here, and it didn't. My focus now is on other coins that are showing better strength. I hope you enjoyed the update on Solana. If you did, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. That's really important as well. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.